Hello, my name is Miguel Resendiz. I'm a marketing professional, entrepreneur, and the host of this podcast, Migcast, a program where we discuss how to monetize your talent, ideas, and show examples of people who have successfully done so in the past. In this podcast, we aim to bring the best business and life insights to help you materialize your goals. An open mind will go a long way in this program, so fasten your seatbelts and get ready for the show. Today, I have the pleasure to talk to professional actor, speaker, and coach, Frederik Imbo. Welcome to the show, Frederik. How are you today?
I'm fine, Miguel. Thank you. How are you?
I'm very good. It is really a pleasure talking to you.
You
And
look so
I
you
have,
look so cool with your cap the other way around. So
yeah, it is
wonderful.
very young style, but like I can wear it like this. No, it's
It's
really
great. It's great. It's great. Either way you look handsome. Either way you look nice.
well. Thank you very much for the compliment. So, Frederik, I have been looking forward to this interview for like a couple of weeks, and I'm really excited to have you in the podcast. So,
Great.
yeah. So to begin with, for those of the listeners that do not know what movies you were in, so what movies were you in, and how was your acting career?
Well, this is the world.
Mhm.
This is Belgium, and
Yeah.
a part of Belgium is Flanders. So I was only acting in some theater pieces, and I acted in two um, movies that were in the movies. So in the room, the
Mhm.
movies, and also I acted in lots of series, Flemish TV series that no one who speaks Spanish or English will ever see.
Okay.
However, I acted in a big kind of weekly soap that some, however, million of people could watch here in Belgium. So the main soap, I acted in two of them and also in some movies. But apart from that, some musicals and theater. But believe me, that was not my biggest quality. Yeah. Acting
Yeah.
was not really wow. I even when I was a native English farty, I would never be nominated for an Oscar at all.
Mm. Well, you never know. There's this actress in Mexico who I don't know if you watched this movie called Roma.
No, I didn't see it.
So do you know? Yeah, this director called Cuaron. It, he produces really good movies, and he basically hired this actor out of nowhere. She wasn't even an actor, and he hired her for this specific role, and she was nominated
Hmm?
for an Oscar. Before that,
Wow,
she was nominated for an Oscar in
wow,
2018, I think.
yeah.
So like you never know,
You
one
never
of these
know.
one of
That's
these
true.
days, one of
That's
these
true.
days you may
That's
become
true. That's
you,
true.
you may
Yeah.
become super famous and get an Oscar.
If you know a director who seeks a Belgian guy with ginger hair, you can think about me.
For
So
sure.
yeah, and we
And
exchanged the royalties, of course, huh? Because
for sure.
then it's thanks to you. Huh?
Yeah, well, I'll get a lot of visitors in this podcast
Yeah,
listening to you, right?
great,
And that'll be more than enough for me. So,
great.
you know, um, I found out about you actually because of your TED talk
Oh
regarding
yeah.
not taking things personally. And and that seems to be something that resonated really well with me because I do take things personally, and for a long time I thought that was something that only happened to me. I thought, oh, I am not good enough, and I'm nervous to meet this person. I'm nervous to talk to my boss. What if he gets angry? What if I'm just not the yeah, I'm just not meeting the standards. So
Mm.
you mentioned you became a referee to try to grow a thicker skin. So tell us a little bit about what was that about? Does it work?
Okay. So you would like to know the story about behind my TED talk. First of all, Miguel, thank you for being so honest to show your vulnerability and to suddenly discover that you are not the only one who struggles with um, how to take things personally. How it started, I think I look like a confident guy. And if I am in my field of expertise, giving trainings, presentations, I feel confident. I really feel it.
Mhm.
However, there are parts of me that feel quickly attacked. For example, when I give a communication training, and there is that person taking whole time its smartphone and watching on the smartphone and not paying attention, then I took it personally. And I just was aware suddenly that I did not like the fact that I was disbalanced by that so much. So I wanted to become free again. I wanted to live like, okay, he or she can do what they want. And if they do something that I don't like, I don't want to really feel irritated, or I don't want to take it personally. I don't want to feel even touched or harmed. I don't want to feel that. So, of course, as a communication coach and also coach people one to one who struggle with these situations as well, I explain them, listen, it's not about you. When someone does, for example, the mobile phone thing, if he or she does do that, he or she does not do it in the way of, okay, I will show that guy that I'm not interested in him in his story. They just do it because they have other things on their mind. Maybe they do not really like what you're saying and they are just, oh, suddenly here. And they scroll, they find something interesting. So it's not really against you, it's just to meet their needs.
Mm.
Then again, I thought, wow, yeah, this is the theory, but how can I really practice it? I'm a guy who wants to practice things in life because I really would like
Mm.
to incorporate techniques and theories. So I thought, hey, Frederick, a place to really learn that is being a football referee. And it turned out that one, I don't play soccer well at all. And
Mhm.
two, I hate running on my own. So I thought if I can combine working on my health and to stay in good shape, and at the same
Mhm.
time, learn how not to take things personally by becoming a ref, that was a story. So I literally exposed myself to situations where, believe me, as a ref, they scold so many things at you. So I really could test out my strategy, how not to take things personally. And honestly, it's still difficult sometimes, but it works. It really works. The moment you decide, okay, it's not about me, it's about the feelings of the other one, then if you're aware of it, you can no longer take things personally. It's even no longer possible. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. So, believe it or not, during my research, I have come across to a few comments about your coaching and yeah, your coaching in some of the companies that you have coached. And
Mhm.
apparently, there in this story that you tell us kind of relates to this comment a little bit. And one of these guys says, "Look, I had a very busy guy in my office. He was a PR guy, and he told me that he was not able to take the full coaching class. And all of a sudden, you engaged him so well. He was on his phone and everything, but the guy says that you engaged this guy so well that the guy didn't leave. At the end of the day, he remained in the place, right? And he stayed. So to me, that speaks volumes of your work and how well you do it, and also how confident you are, and also obviously how knowledgeable you are. You do practice neuro-linguistic programming, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. So does this skill that you learned, or these skills that you have learned in neuro-linguistic programming, have helped you to maybe improve this particular part of your career, which is not taking things personally?
Of course, it's not taking things personally is just a part of being very conscious, being very aware. And
Mm.
I'm happy that you bring up neuro-linguistic programming because it is what it does.
Mhm.
The language programs us, our thoughts program us, our convictions program us. For example, you said, well, I had the idea, I don't measure up, I'm not good enough. Well, these lines, I'm not good enough, I don't measure
Mhm.
up, I don't belong, are just sentences. And
Mhm.
Miguel, we learned these sentences in our childhood. People
Mhm.
told us so many things. For example, again you're so slowly. Well, if you're again so slow, if you hear it over and over and over again, then again you get a kind of belief like, okay, apparently what I will do or say will be again too slowly for other people. If they always teach you like you're stupid, you are a difficult child. This is what my parents, and I don't regret it because I don't feel hard feelings towards them, but I was maybe a difficult child in
Mhm.
that time. But of course, that child in me, if you tell the child the whole time, you are so difficult, then it becomes my identity. And my identity is even, I'm afraid of people sometimes because I think, okay, again, you see, I will be the difficult child, the difficult
Mhm.
person.
Mhm.
So, neuro-linguistic programming is there to teach us how to become aware of our convictions,
Okay.
convictions or embedded thoughts. Um, if we become more conscious, more aware of them, we can also shift them because we can ask us the marvelous 4 questions of Byron Katie. First of all,
Okay.
what I believe, is what I believe true? Of
Mhm.
course, the inner voice will say, yes, of course it's true. And then the second question is, can you scientifically prove that what you're thinking is true? I'm a difficult person. Can I scientifically prove it? No, I cannot prove
Mhm.
it. So, 3, how do I feel when I believe that I'm a difficult person? Well, not so well. I feel like, yeah, I feel stupid. I feel like someone who wasn't successful in his life. And it's someone sad. It's someone terrible. Well, do I want to feel like that? No, of course I don't want to feel like that. So, fourth and last question, which other conviction, which other thought could help you to become the person you would like to become? Well, then definitely the thought will not be, I'm a difficult person. It could be something like, okay, sometimes I'm quite overwhelming for people, but that's okay. That's who I am. And I can also learn how to become softer. So this is
Mhm.
less hard than I'm a difficult person.
Okay. So when when I when I was reading um, material regarding this particular topic about people sometimes not matching up well, and and I came across some people talking about like sometimes I believe I'm too selfish. People said that sometimes I believe I'm too selfish, and I'm not taking other people into consideration, and I think that's the reason why they are angry at me. And so sometimes you need to also take corrective action within your own personality. Is that right?
Of course,
And yeah,
of course.
and I have read a book a long time ago. I think I told you about it last time we met. The name of the book is Satan, an Autobiography, and it's basically a biography of Satan. And Satan tells us his story on Earth. And he says, like, look, I was kind of commissioned by God to come and test you, but but you don't really need my help to test you because you have something called ego, and your ego is doing all the work. Um, and a lot of the times I see it. I see toxic relationships that my friends have with their girlfriends. I see toxic labor relationships that people have with their bosses or with coworkers. They fight. They have this weird interaction between. I cannot really tell him that he's not being nice, but so like I see that all the time, and sometimes myself I have seen that even with my parents, right? So so how do you overcome ego to because sometimes you just feel like, look, this person is saying I'm a difficult person, this person is telling me I'm not good enough, and it's making me feel bad. And although I believe that these 4 questions that you have mentioned are really valuable, how does sometimes it can reinforce your ego, it can reinforce that you are
Of
that you
course,
are good, right?
our ego just wants one thing,
Hmm.
being right and not being questioned. That are 2 things. Okay, the ego wants
Hmm.
2 things.
Yeah.
I want to be right and I don't want to be questioned. Hell no, I don't want to be questioned because I'm right. Because if I need to question myself, then maybe I might not be right. So I want to be
Hmm.
right. So the ego will do everything that it has in its power, judging, reproaching, or playing the victim, like, okay, you know what? Then I no longer talk. To get the feeling of I'm more than you and you are less than me and I'm right and you are wrong. So, how to overcome is to do the opposite. To question yourself and to say someone calls you selfish, to really doing the vulnerable, to really be vulnerable, the compliment I gave you, to really check in yourself. Okay, he calls me selfish. Do I really feel that I do not take into account the other one's needs enough? Yeah, okay. He asked me to do a chore and I didn't do it. So, okay, yeah. But you know what? I was actually very tired and I did not want to do it. So, actually, what I want is I want to be understood that I was tired and not on purpose, not willing to do it. However, I can understand that he thinks that I'm selfish. So, I really dig into myself and I check all the parts that are alive in me and that are involved in that situation. Okay, the other one needed me to help, and indeed, I did not keep my promise. I did not help. So indeed, that's maybe selfish. But at the same time, I felt a bit attacked because I wanted the other one, me to understand that I was just tired. So maybe the ego came in because I did not feel understood by the other person. And so I said, oh, yeah, but do you always help me when I need you? So the ego always wants to be right. And the opposite is that you become more into touch with yourself, with your feelings, with your insecurities, with your vulnerabilities. And it's about being aware of what is inside of you. Being aware, what do you feel right now? What are you feeling right now? And what are your needs? And how is the situation for the other person?
Do you think there is an age in which you start detaching from your ego naturally, or is this something that you really need to train for?
Yeah. What how old are you?
I'm 26 right now.
Oh, good news. It stops at 27.
Oh, your ego stops at 27?
It's a
Wow.
joke. It's a joke. Unfortunately, it's a joke.
Oh, wow.
No,
I
there are
was really
people.
relieved, I was like, I'm detaching from this thing in 27. That's good.
Yeah, sorry to disappoint you there. Do you think we are born with or without ego?
I think it is essential for our survival to have an ego. So I do think that
Yeah,
we're born with an ego.
yeah. I think we are not born with an ego.
Very interesting. So when a baby cries and demands time from his parents or her
It's not
parents,
ego. It's just help me. It's vulnerability. It's pure vulnerability. The baby will
mm,
never say, okay, I was crying for 1 hour and you didn't even pick me. You know what? If I will eat, I will vomit everything. A
mm,
child doesn't think. Babies don't think. Babies feel. An ego doesn't feel. An ego thinks. An ego has a strategy. So it pops in maybe in the very beginning as a toddler, like, okay, if you do not give me the toy I want to play with, then I will do something like, okay, I don't eat. That's the
mm,
ego popping in. And of course, where does the child see it? How does the child learns to do it? Well, because the parents are doing the same. The parents interact with each other in the same way. If a child does not ever see ego in the play, it will never do it itself. So for me, ego is a strategy to get what you want to get. And let's be honest, everyone in life, even every natural creature wants one thing: just be happy with all receiving things, only joy, only happiness. And we don't like the things that we don't like. So someone who yells at us or someone who does not give what we want, we protect ourselves mostly by ego.
I see. So when you when you want to be happy, I mean, this definition of happy that our ego usually wants from us,
Yeah.
uh, it means basically you're always right, you're never wrong. and always expecting praise and no challenge from others. That's kind of like the natural ego.
Yeah.
How does that reconcile with true happiness? Because I find that I have known a lot of people that are very good at finding a way to argue with you and get you, and at the end of the day they go with the aha, I won this argument.
Yeah.
Or like they
Well,
have,
that's the happiness of the ego,
yeah, but then
and it
true
will never
happiness,
be. Yeah, no, we declare it as happiness. If I
yeah,
must exaggerate and play it, I would say, I'm really happy because I have a wife and I have two kids, and life is wonderful because you know what? I asked a salary increase, and my manager, he said no. You know what I answered? I said, listen, if you don't give me that salary increase, I will no longer work and do over hours. I no longer work overtime. And you know what? He finally gave it to me. I'm the king of the world. I'm happy. Well, if you look at me playing this, do you really have the idea that I'm really happy?
no, no, I don't think so.
I am someone in that case who feels really very, very small. And that's, you know what? Being happy, being genuinely happy, is not a idea of always see pink elephants and joy and unicorns. It's the idea of sometimes feeling, damn, today it's a difficult day. And you know what? I wanted to be paid more, and my manager did say no. That's not really okay. Read every good book about happiness, and one of the things that will always come back is you sometimes just need to accept that life is not treating you the way you would like to be threatened. Do you like to be treated? Sorry, my English.
Yeah, no
Sometimes we
problem.
just have to accept, like this case, I said threatened. No, threatened is something else. Treat it. My ego would say, okay, can you cut it out? My vulnerability says, okay, it's okay. I'm not perfect. I don't have to be perfect either. It's okay. I can make mistakes, and sometimes it's not okay. Sometimes it's okay that it is not okay. So letting go of expectations,
Mhm.
not expect anything from someone, giving love without expecting to receive love back. It's our ego who says, okay, if you no longer give me love, then I stop loving you as well. Our vulnerability says, oh, darn, I gave you love and I really hoped to get some love back, but okay, yeah, darn.
Yeah,
Yeah, sometimes I don't get what I want, and that's okay. So you see what I mean? It's more
hmm,
like dealing with sometimes things that you cannot change.
yeah, and that sounds really interesting because I failed to consider the personal setting when I thought about not taking things personally. For most of my research, I always focus on the professional setting. It was like, okay, so how do we not focus on the bad side of someone screaming at us when we're in an office or something? But this really translates well into like into a personal relationship with your girlfriend, for example. And I had a long distance relationship at some point, and one of the things that was challenging at the beginning, and I was also quite young. I was like 20, and it was like, well, I already had in my mind a plan on how to react for like every negative thing that she probably could do, even though she didn't do it or she didn't show any signs that she was gonna do it. Like, for example, cheating. Let's say if she cheats, I'm gonna say this to her. So I had already like a phrase prepared for her in case that she cheated or something. And then I was like, you know what? Like, this is something I cannot control at all. If she cheats, she cheats. And if I cheat, then I cheat. But like, the only thing I can control is how I react to things and how I feel. Kind of. I mean, I don't really control how I feel, but I can kind of control how I react to things in the moment. And so then I decided to, even though it is kind of like a voodoo kind of uh, behavior, it's more like, look, this is kind of karma. If I do well, if I behave well, and if I treat her right, I think most likely this is gonna happen. And if it doesn't happen the way I expected, then it's time to move on, right? But it took me a year or two of having this relationship with a person that was really mature, because she was never in super selfish or anything. She was pretty good at, never checking my phone. Like, I left my phone at her home sometimes, and she never checked it. And I didn't have a password on my phone because I often forgot them. So, it was really impressive, and I really admire that of her, and I think I learned this from her. But oddly enough, I couldn't translate this to the professional setting very well, because oftentimes I had coworkers that, I mean, sometimes they were truly mean, and then I was like, oh, it really hurts here, right? It really hurts in your chest, and then you think about it for like the entire day, maybe the next day too, and that's when I found your TED Talk, and I thought, yeah, this is the person I want to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
But then coming back to happiness, I do think that the balance of happiness and also not being well sometimes is very important, because you cannot truly enjoy happiness unless sometimes you feel bad, I think. And it is like a roller coaster, you feel the thrill when you go down, and you feel calm when you go up. And in order to really enjoy that, I think you need the ups and downs, and you don't really want to go up in a linear increase of happiness, because it's just like an addiction of serotonin on your brain, I think.
It's a good comparison. It is.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then, getting back to how the ego wants you to be right. So how do we reconcile this? So let's say that I'm a person in my 20s, which I am. I'm a person in my 20s that always want to be right, and I think I truly believe my ideals. Let's say I'm an activist, or let's say I'm a business person, an entrepreneur. I believe I believe that my vision is what I want, and then all of a sudden the investors are telling me, no, what you're doing is wrong, and my coach is telling me, yes, it's risky and it is not the way of doing it. And then you compare. Something that I hear a lot of times from investors is, look, Steve Jobs was different to everybody. He always did the contrary to what everybody recommended, so I'm probably Steve Jobs too, because I fit these characteristics. Do you think that's like a last resource your ego is taking to protect itself, kind of comparing itself to an outlier? Like, for example, some people say, oh, I don't want to go to university because I'm like Mark Zuckerberg. He didn't really need university, and he's now one of the billionaires.
Again, what is behind? I want to be right. I will not do it. The ego searches ways, searches situations, searches examples of that can prove that it's right, that I'm right.
Yeah.
I don't go to
Yeah.
university because Mark Zuckerberg didn't go either. So I want the ego doesn't want to do any effort. The ego thinks, okay, no, I will just get what I want. The ego is actually, for me, um, a toddler who remains toddler. The toddler
Okay.
thinks, everyone needs to take into account me. Well, actually, as an adult, we know that sometimes people do not take into account our needs. And so we are adult enough to mourn about the fact that sometimes we don't get what we want, like COVID-19. Okay, we are locked up. We have to accept that we are locked up. Even when other people are not respecting the rules, okay, good. I do what I have to do. And on the other side, I put my focus on the things that I can change. I put my focus on the things where I have the idea of control over.
Do you so now talk ego has really been a part of this conversation, and it clearly is a problem. So how would you recommend people addressing this? How would you recommend people going, um, taking the steps to figure it out? Because if you have a mental health issue, then there are resources, right? I don't know if ego is a mental health issue, but it definitely is an emotional problem. Like, it is something that affects you negatively in your everyday life. And the bigger your ego is, the more difficult it is for you to live cohesively with others. So what would you recommend people to start doing to maybe improve their ego, or diminish their ego?
First of all, not fight to not be in the ego. Don't fight against the ego, because if you
Okay.
fight, you will always lose. So it
Okay.
means that sometimes you will allow yourself, okay, I was in my ego. Yeah. Or I am in my ego. Miguel, no. No, now no. I don't want to talk to you now. No. I'm I hate you. I just don't like you right now because you said things that really hurt it. And I know I should not take it personally, but now I do. And you know what? I'm in my ego. And I want to be my ego as well because the only thing I want is to hurt you. If you say that you are in your ego, actually you're partially no longer in your ego, just being aware and
Mm-hmm.
also allowing yourself. And believe me, the more you allow yourself to be in your ego, it's like telling a child, you cannot open that box with cookies. Of course, the child will only want to open the box of cookies.
Yeah.
So if you tell, okay, you can do it, know that it makes you thick, it makes you thick, fat. I was Dutch. Fat, not thick.
Yeah.
Um, it makes you unhealthy, but
Yeah.
okay, if you think this is good, you can do it. If you
Yeah.
allow yourself, and then a very good coaching question for me is what I'm doing right now, is what I'm saying right now, does it fit with the person I would like to be?
Hmm. Very interesting.
Is what I said now, does it meet my needs? Does it
Mm-hmm.
meet my values?
Mm-hmm.
You know
Yeah.
what? You, you're such a selfish idiot. Stop. It's what I said. Does it meet my needs? No. But I'm right. He's selfish. Okay, it's possible that you are harmed, that you feel um, touched, that you feel hurt. Okay, but if you blame the other, you're in the ego, and I don't want to be in my ego. Sometimes people say things that are hurtful, that are difficult. Okay, that's my pain. And the other one can do what he wants. It's my pain. And I need to take responsibility for my pain. Darn, I really hope that Miguel would now take into my account more my needs. But okay, apparently he didn't do it. So, okay, I can just say, Miguel, I really hoped you doing something else, but okay. And hopefully the other one is not in his ego. If you are in your ego and I'm in my ego, trouble. No place to talk.
Yeah. So have you read the the philosophy or like the scripts of Marcus Aurelius?
No, not personally. I know some quotes of him, not by heart, but I know they are very interesting.
Yeah.
Why do
So
you
in
put up?
in university, for like maybe a month, we studied Marcus Aurelius, and
Wonderful.
we and one of the things, and the class that we studied him for was business ethics. So he
Ooh,
was a, yeah, he was a Roman emperor, right?
yeah.
And he was regarded as a good one, even though the Roman Empire was kind of ruthless at all times. He was regarded as one of the good ones,
Yeah.
and one of the reasons for that is that every night he went to his chambers and he meditated for an hour or two, and the questions that he asked himself were the following: am I the person I want to be today? Was I the person I want to be today? And if not, why not? So he will say, well, I killed a guy because I was angry, right? And I decapitated him or crucified him. And then he thinks, yeah, that's not the person, that's not the emperor I want to be. That I don't want to be Caligula,
Wonderful.
right?
Wonderful. Wonderful.
And
Wonderful.
and then he took notes, and those notes are the things that we study right now, but these are his reflections of every night, and he put them on paper so that he could see them. And he was like, okay, I want to be this emperor, this type of emperor, and then this is what I'm doing. If I was a different person, what would I think of me? Even though, because sometimes you think, or sometimes you define yourself as a good person, but then you do things that do not fit that, but in your mind that's what a good person will do. But then if I think what made Marcus Aurelius really good for his time is that he he had the opportunity or the ability to take himself out of his entire life and see himself as a third party, see himself as a normal Roman citizen, and be like, yeah, you are being a bit crazy today, and you kill like 1,000 people
Of course,
for no
we know
reason.
it. We know it. We know
Yeah,
it. We know it when we do something that doesn't fit our values. We know it.
yeah.
We just know it.
And so this also goes back to what you said, that your if you meditate, one of the things that you learn in meditation is sometimes thoughts will come into your mind and then they will distract you. But as soon as you know that you're being distracted by those thoughts, then all of a sudden they go away, like they just disappear.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
is it similar to ego? You think about,
Of course.
okay, I'm in ego, and then
Okay.
all of a sudden your
Compare it
ego
like
goes away.
this. If you're reading, you're in the book. You're reading a Roman. You're in the book. Suddenly, someone calls you. The bell rings. You're suddenly aware of the fact that you are reading a book.
Mm-hmm.
So at that moment, you are aware of the fact, oh, I'm in the story, I'm in it, and you're aware of it. And then it does not mean that you must open the door. It simply means that now you're aware of the choice. Okay, I can or ignore the doorbell and I can just continue doing what I was doing, or I can open the doorbell. So from the moment you're aware of the ego, you're aware of the fact that, okay, I have a choice here. Or sometimes I continue reading, or sometimes no, I will open the door. And you can choose whether you will continue being in your ego, because sometimes I really do, and sometimes I say, no, come on. No, now I can stop doing it because it doesn't make me happy.
Okay, that sounds, yeah, like that sounds pretty much like meditation. Sometimes it will work and sometimes you indulge a little bit on your thoughts.
Of course.
And are there any books that you will recommend for people to maybe read? And then
And I know that you asked me that question. So I have looked behind me. There is several books, and I
good.
selected two for you. Where are
Oh,
they?
nice.
Here, and the other one is here. Let me start with the oldest one. I looked it up for you. It was um, I looked it up and I forget it already. It's written in 1900, I
Oh,
think
wow.
36 or something like that. It's very old. And let me check for you the original title. This is the Dutch one. So the original title is How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it's written by Dale Carnegie. So it's
Oh,
very old. I think it's a bestseller. Everyone or a lot of people who have already gone on the path of self-awareness. Indeed, 1936. Dale Carnegie. That's number one.
mhm.
And the second one is, you know what? Everything is
Everything.
fucked. No, everything
Ev-
is fucked.
oh, everything is
Mark
fucked.
Manson. And you know what I really like? Everything is fucked. It's quite bam, smash in the face. And then I adore the subtitle, a book about hope.
Mm,
I love it. Everything is fucked. A book about hope. Read it. It's really good.
that's pretty cool. Everything is fucked. A book about hope. So like, I have after I mean I'm nearing my graduation, and after I finished my exams, I felt like, okay, I'm about to get into the real world, and I kind of felt hopeless. I was like, oh, it's so scary, and I think there was this expectation that I had, or that I have for myself, of like, when I graduate, I have to do very professional work, and I have to get a really good job. And the truth is, sometimes you don't know if that's what's gonna happen. I mean, nobody expected a pandemic. Nobody knew what was gonna happen, and you cannot really know if you're gonna do well in your career from the get-go.
Again.
So then, for some reason, I felt really inclined to watch. Well, I actually it began. I was watching YouTube videos, and then there was a video of a lion eating a zebra, and then as I saw, I mean, the lions were eating the zebra alive, right? And then as I saw that happening, I was like, well, that's pretty sad, right? That's like, it would suck to be that zebra. But then I think zebras know that's gonna be their ending. Like, I'm pretty sure they all know they're gonna die eaten by something. None of them is like, oh, I'm gonna die in a hospital and they're gonna put some liquid and then I'm gonna die peacefully. I think all of them already know that that's how they are gonna die, and they still live in peace, because they see zebras getting killed like that every day, right? So
Sorry, so I really have to interrupt you there and to tell you that that's
yeah,
honestly, don't take it personally. This what you're telling is a very nice story, but however, it is a myth. It's not true. Animals cannot reflect upon themselves. An animal, okay, there are exceptions,
mhm.
very tiny exceptions, like some um, uh, um, what are some gorillas, bonobos, and also some fish, the big ones, the I don't know the word in English,
The whales
the
or
whales.
the
They
whales
have a kind of and dolphins, not whales, dolphins. They have
dolphins.
a small self-awareness, but another animal like a zebra is just 100% instinct. A zebra
Really?
will never question himself, okay, am I not too selfish comparing the other animal? And
Mhm.
a zebra who sees another zebra being killed will just know, okay, I must run away.
Mm.
But okay, I like the metaphor, and it's okay, and it is true. Do you know that the human beings, are the only species on this planet that can have for a longer period stress?
Yeah, I didn't know
A
that.
zebra being confronted with a lion is stressed or not?
Mhm, it's stressed,
Of
yeah.
course, it's stressed, and it runs. After it run away and the lion is gone, believe me, 30 seconds after, it's just as peaceful as it was before. We human beings, we have an expectation like I'm graduated and I will find a job, and suddenly that expectation seems not to become reality.
Mhm.
And we become stressed. Okay, and what if I don't have enough money? And what if I don't make career fast enough? And we start to think that's only possible to get stress on a longer period when you repeat thoughts over and over again.
Okay. So, and that's, yeah. So probably my analogy wasn't all that similar because obviously zebras are
But it
not
was a nice
humans.
story.
Yeah. But the point to me was, look, if you realize that the world can be cruel and the world is really not a place where you're gonna get what you want at all times, then then once you accept that, I think also that's a way for you to just, do the best, be a strategic, obviously try to create a strategy for yourself, and then do not really resent the world for not being the place that you want it to be, because it can be cruel. I think I saw zebra being eaten alive. I saw a pack of wolves getting, actually in the Netherlands. There was a Dutch zoo that had like a pack of wolves being eaten by a few grizzlies, and then I was like, wow. And then
Yeah,
everybody's walking and seeing that, right?
that's
And
cruel.
that's cruel, but that's also nature. These grizzly bears were
Exactly.
like, okay, this is food for me, right? And I'm gonna eat
Exactly.
it. And
Exactly.
so this is kind of a method that I found for myself to just realize, okay, look, you're fine if you don't get it. Well, you don't get it, right? The same thing that happened to this wolf. He didn't want to get eaten by grizzly bears, but it happened. So all of these things that seem like injustice, or things that may seem like it's- it is unfair, it is just life, and you need to face it.
Exactly. And to come back to the ego,
Yeah.
expressions like it's not fair, this is not right, this is done against me is purely 100% the language of the ego. A mature person will say, okay, I was just unlucky. That's all. It was not against me. No one um, did something that was unfair. They just did something. It's a fact. See it as facts.
Yeah.
I need to round off,
Yeah,
Miguel,
sounds good. No
and
problem.
I would like maybe to round off by giving the quote that inspires me the most.
Okay.
And it comes from a kind of a small prayer, but I keep out the praying fact because again, praying is like, okay, God will give me. No, 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 no.
Mhm.
I want to unguard it. So how
Okay.
do you do it? First of all, I accept
Okay.
the
I
things
accept.
I cannot change.
Okay.
Secondly, I change the things that I can change.
Okay.
And three, I use my awareness, my mind,
Mhm.
to distinguish between the both of them. What I can change, what I can change, what I can't change, and what I can change.
Okay. So I for before you go, and this is something that I ask all of my guests is if you were to give an advice to or like three pieces of advice to the younger self, you know, maybe the 26-year-old Frederick, what would this advice be? And yeah, it can be short. Don't worry.
Invest as much as you can in self love. Be
Okay.
gentle with yourself. Be courageous. Set goals. Do the best you can. And at the same time, be gentle to yourself. Be um, friendly to yourself. And so question your inner voice. Is what I'm thinking now an expression of self love, of love towards others or towards myself? Yeah, okay, let me continue doing this. Or is this an expression of pain, fear, resentment, hate? Wow, do I really want to be like this? Do I want to be someone who talks to himself? Ah, you're stupid. No, I don't want to be someone like that. I want to be someone who loves themselves, who says, okay, you made a mistake, but that's okay. Let's learn from the mistake, but let's not take into account the all the negative judgments towards ourselves. That would be my advice.
Perfect. And I think that that really sums it up. And thank you so much for giving me some time in this schedule for you. And
You're so welcome,
I
Miguel.
really appreciate being in contact with you. And I hope once this podcast grows, you can come back to the podcast. Or hopefully
With pleasure.
I can fly to Belgium and we can have a podcast live. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the
Oh,
listeners. Yeah.
always welcome, and thank you for the listeners for having got the courage to listen the whole piece. And thank you, Miguel, for giving me the opportunity to share my ideas. It was a pleasure, and
Yeah.
have a very, very nice rest of the day.
All right. You too. And have a great week. See you all. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.